So today we have Makanaka Tuwe.
I'm sorry, I put this away.
There's no issues. Yeah. Everybody is like always on the phone.
Yeah.
So today we have Makanaka Tuwe. I'm Akula and I'm an intern at Unitech Student Media, and we are really glad to have you here for the interview on your amazing poetry book called Questionable Intimacy. Really intriguing title. So I'm really excited to know a bit more about the book from you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and an honor.
Would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Makanaka Tuwe. I am 24 years old. I am from Zimbabwe, so I am a Zimbabwean, Shona, African, Bantu woman. How would I describe myself? So I struggle with describing myself because I have this belief that as women, we always get put in boxes. So because of that, I do everything I can to stray away from the box. And so I usually describe myself as a social entrepreneur, as a tea drinker. I love my tea. Used to love wine, but not anymore. I think as I'm getting older, like my resistance is apparently when you get to 24, 25, it just goes. So wine's off that list. I like to dance. If you see me out on the dance floor, I love it. I feel like movement's the most important thing ever. You release a lot of energy. I like to write, I like cooking, I like baking, I like making stuff, I like meeting new people. I'm really passionate about social justice. I'm a women's rights activist. I also love sprinkling black girl magic and talking about, rights for black people. I am interested in like Africana studies. So yeah, just a whole lot of different things, just make up who I am, and that's how I would introduce myself.
I want to know, were you a student at Unitech?
Yes, I am still currently a student at Unitech. I should be submitting my thesis at the end of this year, please God. Yeah, I'm doing my Master of International Communication here at Unitech.
Oh, amazing.
And I used to work here. Unitech was my first adult job. I just finished university, my undergrad, and I came here as first an experiential activity coordinator, and I got seconded into being, I think it was like content and something else. I forget the title, but it was to do with like content and digital marketing. I was assisting the guy who was looking after the website for Unitech. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You were part of Unitech Student Media also.
Yes, I think I wrote something for Tale back in the day.
Something here, and this is you, right?
Yeah, when I still had my dreadlocks.
Does the word that you just used, social injustice, relate back to questionable intimacy, and that's why you chose the title?
It kind of does, but like I see like those. I think of social justice as a fight for freedom, and when we say freedom, we mean like personal freedom, because my freedom will be different to your freedom. And so I suppose that kind of links to questionable intimacy, because when I was talking about intimacy, I wasn't just talking about the intimacy you share with a lover or your partner. I was talking about intimacy to everything. So firstly, there's the intimacy you have with yourself. That's a form of freedom. And the intimacy that you have with your partner, your lover, or whoever you're sharing that part of your body with, that's a certain freedom, because you have the, if you're free enough, or you have the right to choose who that person is. That's your intimacy to your friendships with your friends and your family, intimacy to things happening around the world. So for instance, for me, things that are intimate to me would be, intimacy with my self-love, intimacy with my partner or my lover, intimacy with being, a black woman living in a mainly predominantly white patriarchal society. Okay. So, all those things relate back to that justice, freedom, intimacy thing. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I don't know how you choose the titles. I mean, how do you come up with titles?
A lot of the time, most of my work is just written Untitled 1. When I used to blog, I had a lot of Untitled 1, Untitled 2. And I was like, if you see Untitled, it's because I don't want to label my work as yet. I don't feel... So I have this belief that I let my work grow into itself. So instead of like saying, this is my title, I'm going to write, I just write, and then the title somehow pops up to me as I go. I chose that title, A Fine Balance, because I just finished reading Rohinton Mysteries, A Fine Balance. Oh, that book just... I actually went and saw the play when they came and did a play in New Zealand. So, he was talking about a fine balance between societal, norms and all that stuff that happens. He was opening up eyes to different people's lives in India through that book. But when I thought about a fine balance, I thought about, that fine balance that you choose, in life and you walk along. Yeah, so most of my work is usually untitled, and then when I go back, I'm like, ooh, ooh, this word, ooh, this works. So I just, yeah.
What is questionable intimacy?
Huh.
You know? Because when I read it, my perception of questionable intimacy is when I saw the book and I saw the cover. I mean, I'm not that kind of person,
Yeah.
but when you look at the cover, it was quite, you use those colors, and in communication when you read about colors, and you get that feeling that maybe this book is about, self-love, those vibrations, positive vibes, and stuff like that. And when you open the book, it starts talking about I.
Yeah.
A lot of I.
Yeah.
In many books, like even in my own writings, I use the word you.
Yeah.
So that the reader, I target the reader, but you connect the reader with yourself.
Yeah.
Like you use I am the supreme.
Yeah.
I should.
I don't actually say I'm the supreme. I don't think I'm that great.
I mean, you are your own leader, so maybe. So I wanted to know about why did you use I?
Because I wasn't writing for a reader. I was writing for myself.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I even struggle with calling myself a writer because I never when I wrote Questionable Intimacy, it wasn't actually a book. That was just me writing for myself over a period of 4 years. Then last year I thought to myself, oh, this is kind of okay. Why not publish it into a book? But that was never supposed to see the light of day. Those were my personal thoughts to myself, and I write a few affirmations to myself. So even you as the reader, you can read the affirmation. So I've got this poem about, where you're talking about, self-love and how you are God and you're transcending higher to a new level and all that things, mentally, spiritually and emotionally. And I use the word I because as a reader, you can read that out. You can read it out to yourself as an affirmation to affirm yourself, depending on what situation you are in. So yeah, I think I used I a lot because I wrote for myself and I wrote for the reader to connect to themselves by using those words I. Yeah, and I really think that we need to stop expecting creatives or people who put things out to do it for the audience, because in essence your creativity is an outlet for whatever you're facing. So when I wrote all those things, I was obviously going through some stuff, so I was shooting and I was releasing. That was me, putting it out there for myself. So for somebody or for a reader, for an audience to expect something from me, it's like no, sorry, like this is not for you. This is for me.
Yeah. Who inspires you?
I would say my dad, my parents are my inspirations, and I've always said I do everything for my parents. They lived in Zimbabwe, they had a great life, and then things started going, they actually went bad when we left Zimbabwe, but my dad worked in insurance, and he decided that people weren't buying insurance anymore, so that always signifies for like some sort of decline. I don't know how it works, don't quote me. But for them to leave their lives and to move somewhere else and start again, that for me is really inspiring. I've seen my parents start again in life so many times, and still, they've got this strength, this resilience, this gracefulness, still this love for life, this love for each other. And so that for me really, really inspires me. It just shows me that, like, no matter what happens in life, nothing's ever guaranteed. Things can be taken away from you, things can be plucked under from you, but there's just, people can't take away your joy, they can't take away your sense of self and your sense of being. And so that for me, just watching them throughout my life, that's why they're my inspirations.
Apart from the book, how many more projects are you in?
Ooh. So right now I'm currently completing my Master's in International Communication, and I'm not doing a traditional thesis. So my project is a creative research project, and I am using participatory visual methodologies to situate migration, identity and representation. So from that I've developed and I'm facilitating a project that's been titled Cora, the Third Culture Research Project. And I am working with 10 young women of African descent to create visual outputs and examplers. And so my role in the research is to be a co-participant, a researcher, and to facilitate the workshops. So for example, some of the projects that girls are doing include doing a portrait series of people of African descent to increase the visibility of people of African descent in New Zealand. One girl's doing one about colorism, about how that impacts being too dark skinned, being too light amongst people of African descent. Another girl's doing normalizing African fashion. One girl's doing memes about the African experience in New Zealand. So all these things So I'm facilitating that project, and from there I'm observing what a co-creative space for African youth can mean. 1, 2, how counter narratives are necessary for people of African descent in order to have a sense of self-belonging, to see themselves reflected in the world. So that's pretty much like my research. So that's what I'm doing right now. I also freelance. So right now I'm working for a local NGO, and I'm looking after like their governance workshops and their communication strategy and all the other stuff. It's quite fun. Yeah. So that's what I do outside of work, and then when I'm not busy I make bath salts. So soon, those are coming soon. I'm finishing up the packaging in like a couple of months. So selling bath salts and tea leaves, and yeah.
I just want to tell my audience that Questionable Intimacy is through her website.
Yeah, so my website is sesamasho.com.
If anybody wants to take that magical book that I'm gonna buy from her to listen to you, so you can buy it from there.
Yeah.
I just want you to give me a small quote in your own mother tongue.
I think my favorite Shona proverb is Mono Mono ne kudakwe vanu, which translates to I am because we are, and that's all about like connectivity, one for all for one, that real like communal grassroots knowledge sharing, love stuff. So that's one of my favorite quotes.
Thank you.
No, thank you. This has been fun.
I mean, yes, I would love to be more into that project that you're doing, and I'm sure that somebody would come up and
I love it. Slide in my DMs on Instagram, Facebook. I'm open, but be appropriate.
Yeah. So much. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great fun.
Yes, and we have a copy of Love Revolution because you talk about love a lot.
Yes, love is love. I believe in love.
So maybe
yes, thank
you. Will have the copy.
Awesome. This is awesome.